Thuso, I'll start with you. First of all, I just have to just witness how iconic you are. Like every time we post about you on Shadow Night, people are like, Slay Queen, yes, love her. So you are just such a superstar. And I wanted to know, what was the research and preparation process like for you? Because while you're not American, the South African experience has some parallels with the Black American experience as well. So how did you use this preparation and context to channel the character of Cora?
I think I have to state first that I realized when I jumped into preparation, that a lot that I thought I knew was framed by a white supremacist gaze. So I had to unlearn all of that before jumping into the truth of the story that we were telling. My preparation was governed by the book, and as much as this, the screenplay itself is a little bit different to the book. I wanted to bring the Cora. Bring the Cora from the book into the script. I read the book over and over again, but I consumed a lot of material that I could find on the net. Barry sent me stuff to read. Barry sent me stuff to listen to, and that I can confidently say I think I did too much research to the point where I had to consciously tell myself to step away from it, do something else, work on Cora's handwriting. I had other stunts, things that I had to do, but that was all informing the character from the jump. And then when the other people arrived, having those discussions with them, because what I'm learning might be a little bit different from what they're learning, and then merging those worlds to start telling the story.
Yeah. And for Barry, we actually got to speak with you when one of the last teasers dropped for the series, and you gave a lot of insight as to how this story was more character driven and about these people at this time, as opposed to just simply the condition of them being enslaved. And I wanted to know, knowing that you developed a lot of the show even before shooting Bill Street, did your lens and perspective on this series change as race relations in America have kind of shifted and how things have come to light in the more recent years? I guess maybe like 5 to 7 years. Did that change any in how you first developed the series before a long time ago?
No, I can't say that it did. To be honest, if there was a great shift, it was, when the actors inhabited the characters. I think being in the field, actually being out there, making it. I don't mean fields. I don't mean the picking fields. I'm speaking in sports terms. I think being out there, actually making the show, and actually these wonderful actors giving body to the characters. That was when the next evolution of the piece kind of arrived. I think, unfortunately, Coulson wrote a book probably wrote it in 2015, that was about, let's say, 1850, that now we're releasing a show in 2021. And at every point on that timeline, the things that we're dealing with are all relevant. Yeah. And so it's not that there's been some great shift, and especially when it comes to things like that. I want to get, like, let's take a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year sample and see if things have actually shifted. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's just too acute. And we'll all just have to sort of keep our fingers on, what is happening, what has been happening for the entirety of my life that I feel like hasn't been addressed, that I feel like is being allowed to proliferate. And what is the work that I'm creating? What is it saying about that? And to me, that was consistent from the beginning all the way until maybe 2 weeks out from release, all the way out to now. Unfortunately.
Yes, it's definitely a story that, it's always going to be topical, regardless of whether we want it to be topical or not. So
that's true, but glass half full, maybe someday, if we just keep pounding at it, we keep holding folks accountable, we keep telling the truth. Yep. Maybe someday it will be irrelevant, but right now, no, we ain't there.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's all of my time, and I appreciate you both for taking time out of your busy press day to chat with me.
Thank you, bro. I see that poster above you, man. I appreciate it.
How do you think the Underground Railroad is different from other, versions and portrayals of enslaved people and slavery that we've seen on screen over time?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. I think what may be different is the fantastical element of the actualization of the trains and the actual railroad. And I think for me, a really special moment was the first time that I saw the trains, you know, and they had literally built the tunnel over a real track, you know, and they had a train and nothing about it looked pretend or fake, you know, so it was just seeing the actualization of that was a huge moment. And I think maybe that is something that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, yeah. What are some similarities and differences between you and Caesar, and how were you able to channel that character?
Yeah, that's another great question. And I cannot even attempt to compare myself to Caesar, truthfully, because to have that magnitude of strength and resilience, courage, to not only be able to exist in those circumstances, but then to escape and go beyond them in pursuit of, you know, true freedom and true liberty. That is those characteristics are things that I can only dream of having myself, you know. So that I wouldn't say there are any similarities. I would just say there's a lot of admiration for the characters in this story from my perspective.
And also, as a non-American actor, did you think that there was any sort of extra preparation that you needed to do, or what was the research process like for you in order to, I guess, properly portray an enslaved person in America? You know, I know there's parallels between, you know, history between all people of the diaspora, but how were you able to research and prepare specifically from this character?
Absolutely. I think I was fortunate to have the novel and I was fortunate to have the series, but I think also just having conversations, you know, with African Americans and their experiences really deepened my understanding of that specific experience of the diaspora. And of course, you know, researching that deepened my well of knowledge and allowed me to just feel more equipped in tackling this story.
If you could pick one major theme or one major aspect of the show that you hope hits home for a lot of people, what would that be and why?
Yeah, I think as a global community and as a human race, I think we have a long way to go in regards to empathy, understanding, and unity. And I hope that this series contributes to that conversation and allows audiences to reflect and say, what can I do that is conducive to progress?
Yeah, yeah. Well, those are all of my questions and all of my time. Well, I thank you so much for chatting with me, and congrats on this. Yeah, congrats on this series launch. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Thanks, Trey.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.